Welcome to this Premium Explainer program. I want you to go ahead and step right into the mindset of a senior hospitality leader. Through this highly structured learning experience, we're going to explore the absolute pinnacle of front office operations, and we'll be drawing directly from the rigorous standards of the European Hotel School.
Hello and welcome. I am a hotel AI expert with extensive experience in modern hospitality operations and performance support. I am pleased to welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. We look forward to supporting your professional growth in the hospitality industry.
So, here's our agenda for today. First, we'll cover the high-stakes first impression. Then, we dive into our three main pillars: the visual promise, the digital handshake, and face-to-face interaction. Finally, we'll wrap up by mastering the Lear model.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the high-stakes first impression.
In the world of luxury hospitality, the pressure of those initial moments when a guest steps into the hotel, well, it simply cannot be overstated. I mean, the first few seconds literally dictate the entire guest experience. Why is that? Because you, the front office staff, are the physical embodiment of the hotel's brand. Before a single word is ever spoken across that reception desk, your guest is already subconsciously evaluating the competence and reliability of the whole establishment. If that first impression falters even a bit, the entire stay starts at a massive deficit.
Moving right along to Section 2, Pillar 1, the visual promise.
We really need to reframe how we think about physical appearance. This isn't about vanity at all. It's actually a deep psychological promise that you make to the guest the very moment they see you. We call this organized excellence. And in a 5-star setting, the standards are, quite frankly, incredibly rigorous. We're talking about pristine, perfectly pressed uniforms with a flawless garment fit. Hair needs to be conservative and well-maintained. Nails and facial hair? Immaculate. This kind of meticulous grooming signals absolute discipline and respect, making absolutely sure there are zero visual distractions from the luxury service you're providing.
Now, why do these physical standards matter so much? It all comes down to something called the halo effect. This is a super crucial psychological phenomenon. When a guest sees your pressed collar and your perfect grooming, they immediately assume you're going to be just as meticulous with their complex travel arrangements and sensitive personal data. It's like a domino effect. Your visual credibility is literally the foundational bedrock of guest trust. Let's transition to Section 3, Pillar 2, the digital handshake. Today, the reality is that a guest's critical first impression often happens entirely digitally, long before they ever physically set foot on the property. Now, in face-to-face interactions, we naturally rely on our body language and facial expressions to convey warmth. But modern front office work involves countless what we call blind interactions, over the phone or via email. Without those visual cues, these interactions demand an even higher level of technical precision and what people in the industry call an audible smile. For the absolute standard for telephone etiquette really comes down to the number 3. The phone simply must be answered within 3 rings, no exceptions. And when you pick up, you've got to deliver a warm welcome, clearly state the hotel's name, your name, and offer a clear line of assistance. You want to project clarity, use a moderate volume, and practice active listening to really project that audible smile across the line. Right next to that rule is the number 30. 30 seconds to be exact. We all know how agonizing it is to wait on hold, right? A single minute can honestly feel like an absolute eternity. So, a true professional never, under any circumstances, leaves a guest hanging for more than 30 seconds without checking back in to offer an update. It's a vital metric of respect for the guest's time in a premium environment.
And remember, the digital handshake completely extends to the written word as well. Every single email you send out is a legal and professional record. It requires a formal salutation, a concise body, and a highly professional signature. Flawless grammar and spelling? Absolutely mandatory here. It might seem like a small detail, but spelling errors suggest a lack of professionalism that rapidly erodes guest confidence, and it actually compromises the hotel's professional standing.
Okay, bringing us to Section 4, Pillar 3, face-to-face interaction.
This right here is where all your preparation meets reality. It is the ultimate test of a front office professional's interpersonal skills. And these physical gestures, they are simply non-negotiable. First, you stand immediately when a guest approaches the desk. You use formal address, like titles and surnames, until you are specifically invited to do otherwise. You maintain appropriate eye contact. And of course, you offer a genuine smile. These aren't just polite suggestions. They're the actual physical requirements that actively manufacture that luxury atmosphere.
Now, you might be wondering what happens when things don't go perfectly.
Because they won't always. Handling a dissatisfied guest requires a really high level of emotional intelligence. Specifically, it takes a blend of elevated language and grace under fire. You absolutely must remain polished and articulate even when you're facing immense pressure right there at the front desk.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 5, Mastering the Lure Model.
This is the sequential psychological framework utilized by top professionals around the world to de-escalate tension and resolve guest complaints effectively. The Lear model is the undisputed industry standard. It breaks down into 4 really clear steps: listen, empathize, apologize, and react or resolve. By moving through these steps sequentially, you can literally transform a frustrated guest into a loyal advocate.
Let's break these down a bit. Step 1 is simply to listen. You need to give the guest your complete, undivided attention without interrupting them. There is massive psychological importance here, folks. Before a guest can even begin to accept a solution, they must first feel entirely heard and respected.
Moving to step 2, empathize. Your absolute most powerful tool here is a very simple phrase. I can certainly understand why that would be frustrating. By acknowledging their feelings, without necessarily admitting any immediate operational fault, you fully validate their human experience. You are showing them that you are aligning yourself with them, not against them.
Then we have steps 3 and 4, which is where you really take control. Apologize and react. You need to offer a sincere apology for the negative experience, regardless of who is actually to blame. In luxury service, we simply do not point fingers at other departments. A true professional takes immediate personal ownership of the problem and, crucially, provides the guest with a clear, reliable timeline for the solution.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to internalize these core fundamentals: the visual promise, the digital handshake, face-to-face interaction, and the learn model. These pillars are the true bedrock of any hotel's success. When you execute these flawlessly, you are personally reinforcing the hotel's reputation for world-class excellence.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to reflect upon as you continue your online learning journey. Knowing that the very first few seconds completely dictate the entirety of the guest's experience, what visual and digital promise will you make to your next guest? Thank you so much for joining me for this session. Let's keep setting the standard for excellence.